The video game series Animal Crossing is known for its large collection of fish, as well as its catalog of puns that go with them. In the new game, Animal Crossing New Horizons, there are 80 different types of fish you can catch, and therefore 80 puns. However, these puns can be difficult, sometimes impossible, to understand if not explained properly. That's why, in this video, I will be explaining them to you in an incredibly correct and concise fashion. Lean forward, grab a notebook, and pay extremely close attention, because I'm about to blow this game wide open. Also, if you want to like, comment, and subscribe, that'd be dope. Let the video begin. The first pun for the bitterling is a reference to the fact that the word bitter means to be mad, and that the suffix ling implies smallness, therefore the pun we see. The pun for the pale chub is in reference to the fact that the term pale chub is a common slur used to demean Armenian fishermen. The pun for the crucian carp is a reference to the fact that the common rhyme invented by Nelson Mandela in the 1400s is a very common literary device and is thusly very funny. The dace pun also utilizes this rhyming technique to its full potential now with a rhyme, like the one it is. It's a rhyme. The pun for a regular carp is a reference to the fact that the word carp is in the word carpool, which is a thing carps do when they want to get places fast. The pun for the koi is a reference to the fact that the word koi with a Y means shy or coy, and that the word koi, meaning fish or shy, is spelled K-O-I. Therefore, a koi would be shy and a bad speller. The pun for the goldfish is a reference to the fact that for something to be worth its weight in gold, it costs the amount that it is if the gold weighed that much that it is the amount of that it weighs. Goldfish, thank you. The pun for the pop-eyed goldfish is a reference to the fact that when humans get surprised, their eyes tend to bulge out to distances up to 3 feet. The pun for the ranchu goldfish is a reference to the fact that ranch is a popular dressing amongst salad members, but balsamic is also a popular dressing. Therefore, the U suffix at the end of the word can be used to talk about goldfish. The pun for the killifish is a reference to the fact that many killifish have been noted by psychologists to have serial killer tendencies, thus the name killifish. This pun is a subtle reference to that fact. The pun for the crawfish is a reference to the fact that crawfish look to some like tiny lobsters. The pun for the soft-shelled turtle is a reference to the fact that shell sounds like cell, and a selfie is a type of picture you can take. Therefore, a shelfie would be a kind of picture a turtle could take. The pun for the snapping turtle is a reference to the fact that snapping turtles, while snap is in the name, cannot physically snap the way people do with their fingers. Snapping turtles instead use their complicated mechanisms of air pressure in their shell to make a loud snapping noise that can be heard for miles around. The pun for the tadpole is a reference to the fact that tad means a little, and a tadpole is a little bit like a pole, except it has a bulge on the end. So a tadpole is like a tad like a pole, so a tad small would be something that's a little bit small, which is what a tadpole is. The pun for the frog is a reference to the fact that humanoid frogs can live in your neighborhood in Animal Crossing. Therefore, catching a frog in a pond says something great about sentience within the animal kingdom. The pun for the goby is a reference to the fact that the word goby looks like go by, which is a term used when someone leaves somewhere, because they're saying goodbye. Subtle. I know. The pun for the fish known as a loach is referencing the fact that when a loach is fished up, it is almost immediately killed by the air pressure, because loaches live at depths of over 3,000 feet. So the reproach described in this pun is completely justified. The pun for the catfish is a reference to the existence of another fish, known as a dogfish, with the head of a dog and the tail of a mermaid. Therefore, a catfish is not a freak of nature like a dogfish is. Therefore, our character prefers freaks. The pun for the fish known as the giant snakehead is a reference to the fact that when McDonald's serves giant snakehead burgers, they don't often give you the size you ask for. The pun for the bluegill is referencing the fact that bluegill is referring to the color of the bluegill's gills, that color being blue. Therefore, if one were to refer to a human in the same fashion, we would be called pink lung, because the color of a human's lung is in fact pink. The pun for the yellow perch is a reference to the fact that a yellow perch would be a place that yellow birds would sit, because a perch is a common sitting place for many birds, and therefore a place where hawks like to score a meal. That doesn't really relate to it, but it's still an interesting fact. The pun for the black bass is a reference to the fact that bass and bass look the same, and a bass guitar is a guitar commonly used in a metal band, a band made of people who are very scary and use bass guitars. The pun for the tilapia is a reference to the fact that if one pronounces tilapia like tilapia, you could rhyme it with happia. But since it is pronounced the other way, this pun makes little to zero sense. The pun for the pike is a reference to the fact that swordfish and pikes have a long-standing rivalry that goes back hundreds of thousands of years, back to when the first swordfish, Cain, killed the first pike, Abel. Also, a pike is a type of weapon, and so is a sword, but that doesn't seem to factor into it that much. I caught a pond smelt. That's the pun. That's the way it starts. But the pun, what it is referencing is the common phrase, whoever smelt it dealt it, which implies that the human who identifies the fart smell is the one who is in fact committed the fart smell and is therefore trying to distract their compatriots from the smell. Very sneaky. The sweet fish pun is a reference to the fact that artificial sweeteners like stevia and aspartame are common in many forms of fish, such as king crab and sweet fish. The pun about the cherry salmon is a reference to the fact that when given a marlin sundae, a common type of sundae, with marlin in it, most people opt to put a cherry on top. Therefore, a cherry salmon would relate because it has the word cherry in the title. The pun used for the fish known as a char is a reference to the fact that char sounds like couch, and a lot of people like to sit on couches. Therefore, I caught a char, now I'm going to sit on it, directly implies our character cannot spell. The pun for the golden trout is a reference to the popular book series Lord of the Flies, in which a group of dwarves travel to a mountain called Mount Morgus, where they have to deposit a magic necklace. It takes a very long time, and the books are known throughout the world, but at the end of the book, our favorite dwarf, Frabo, says the real treasure was friendship. Oh my gosh, I caught a stringfish. This part of the pun references the fact that stringfish have been absent from this earth for nearly 1 million years because of the stringfish genocide committed by the dinosaurs. But the rest of the pun is relating to the fact that generally, guitars have 6 strings, except for 12-string guitars, which require a lot more stringfish. So that part of the pun is not very well accounted for. The pun about the salmon is relating to the fact that when salmon are about to die, they go upstream instead of downstream, because salmon die after they breed, and when a salmon breeds, it goes back upstream to where it was born. Therefore, it could be said that when a salmon is dying, it is going upstream, rather than when a human is dying, it is said to have been going downhill. It is a common parallel. The pun about the king salmon is relating to the popular video game chess, in which you must capture a piece known as the king by surrounding it on all sides by other pieces. The king salmon is presumed to be a comparison to the popular chess piece known as king. So when one catches a king salmon, in the video game you would win, and when you win you say checkmate. So that is what that means. The mitten crab pun is relating to the idea that mittens are a popular glove wear that one wears on their feet instead of gloves for your feet. So in the winter, your feet get really cold and you have to put something on them to warm them up. And a mitten is one of those things. So a mitten crab is relating to the idea that it has the word mitten in the title. And since the average human has 2 feet, you would need 2 mitten crabs to survive the winter. The pun relating to the guppy is a pun on the fact that the term guppy is often used to demean younger people. So a newbie would be a guppy because they're younger. The pun talking about the nibblefish is relating to the idea that nibblefish bite things, and saying I could use a bite is talking about being hungry. Therefore, our character is conveying the idea that they would like to eat the nibblefish. The pun for the angelfish is a pun on the fact that in the popular Flip Gobson show, he said a line that was, "The devil made me do it," and the opposite of the devil is an angel. Therefore, an angelfish would not tell you to do something bad, but a devilfish would. The pun for the beta is a reference to the fact that beta looks like the word better spelled with an A instead of an ER at the end. So it is poking fun at the spelling and the pronunciation by saying I beta not drop it, whereas the correct pronunciation would be I beta not drop it. And now I know it's weird. The pun about the neon tetra is stating that the neon tetra has neon on it, so the neon tetra was easy to find because the neon tetra's neon made the neon tetra easier to find. The pun about the rainbow fish is referencing the popular phrase, "At the end of the rainbow is a pot of gold." Since a rainbow fish is real and a goldfish is also real in some circles and cultures, one can make the reference, "Where's my pot of goldfish?" after you find a rainbow fish, because those two fish are both real. And our last pun for this video that we will be explaining is the pun relating to the fish known as the piranha. This pun is referencing the fact that in popular culture, piranhas are shown in packs, whereas real piranhas travel solo and like to bounty hunt in their free time. So this is poking fun at popular culture's misconception of piranha culture. Thank you for watching this video. If you want a part 2, say so in the comments. If you do not want a part 2, do not say so in the comments. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. This has been my video. Thank you for watching. This is the end of the video.